8 p.m. Welcome to the Citi Newsroom. My name is Vivian Kai. Look, tonight I'm here with
Umaru Sanda Amadou.
Coming up, President Akufo-Addo meets his Nigerian counterpart over ongoing agitations between Ghanaian and Nigeria traders.
Also, gold trading company Men's Gold fails to disburse locked-up cash to majority of its customers who throng the branches today, leaving them disappointed.
Also coming up, ex-GFA boss Kwesi Nyantechi sues investigative journalist Anas Arimeya Anas over the violation of his rights in his investigative piece on football. And Kolebu Teaching Hospital rules out any wrongdoing on the part of its staff in the death of a 50-year-old woman this month. Also on the Citi Newsroom tonight, former KMA boss Kojo Bonso joins NDC flag bearer race. Let's bring you the details. And Nigerian shops remain closed in the Bono-Hafo regional capital, Sunyani, even after an order from the government for all such shops to be reopened across the country. Now, Ghanaian retailers say their sales have shot up since the Nigerians closed their shops. Citi News' Michael Mfunsapon visited Sunyani magazine to find out about the situation and reports.
A visit to the Sunyani magazine reveals that all Nigerian shops at the place have remained closed for over a month now. In August this year, the Bono-Hafo regional branch of the Ghana Association of Garages warned Nigerian and other foreign nationals engaged in retail business to stop. According to the Ghanaian retailers, their business has improved since the Nigerians and other nationals closed their shops. Some of them spoke to Citi News.
It has even increased my sales and it has even helped me to add more things into my shop. Like some things which were about like 6 years, it was still there, but since they closed their shop, I've been able to sell all those things out. So now I've even went and bringing new ones.
Service a lot because our sales has been increased. It has been increased. People are saying that their sales have been increasing and it has helped a lot. But our point is, we are not saying that we are driving them away. Our problem is, if you go to Rome, you have to do how the Romans, you have to obey the rules and the laws in the Ghana here. We have our laws. But they don't want to abide our laws. That's our problem. So if they put their service to their roots, we don't have problem with them. But our problem is, if they want to be the retailing, they should stop. It's not allowed for them. That retailing is for Ghanaians, the citizens in Ghana here. So our problem is, if they want to sell their things, they have to be supplying, not retailing.
And this is what we have been praying for all the time. Yeah, all along, that's what we are praying for. But the laws are there. When you go to every country, there are laws that protect local businesses, and the laws has been passed. The problem is people are not trying to enforce it. So our only plea is that they should enforce it. When you go to their country, the laws are there. Not everywhere that a foreigner can enter. I don't know why when they come here, people try to just ignore the laws and they want to just do their own thing. Since I just improving, and we hope if it continues, then things will get better.
The PRO of the Sunyani branch of the Ghana Association of Garages, Charles Techi, said they will resist any Nigerian and other foreign nationals who would engage in retail business.
Now those who are making sales of 100 cedis are making it 400, 600. And you see, it has helped us a lot. And it's not that we told them to close. When we went to the DCE, the agreement was that they should come and do their supplying and we will stick to our retailing. And they decided not to open because they want to still do the retailing. Foreigner cannot do retailing. The law is there. That is our argument. They have closed it. And it seems they have some agenda. Since we went there, they have not opened. And if they come and they sell, they will do the retailing. It's going to be war. We will fight for it. If we have nobody to fight for us, we will fight for our right. And it is our right. We will fight for it, my brother. That is it.
For Citi News, I am Michael Saponinfum reporting.
Mineral traders at the Swami magazine in Kumasi say they will not back down on their decision to restrain foreigners from engaging in retail business within the enclave. According to the traders, they are not against foreigners engaging in lawful business, but will drive out those flouting the laws regulating retail trade in the country. The traders therefore want the government, through the Ministry of Trade and Industry, to work at sanitizing the retail industry. Now, sector regional minister, our regional correspondent Hafiz Tijani, has been to the market and came through with this report.
Some shops belonging to Nigerian traders have been opened for business. The shops were locked after a task force from the Ministry of Trade visited the enclave to inspect their documents. Following a new directive from the ministry, some Nigerian traders have opened their shops while other shops remain locked. Some of them who spoke to Citi News say they are ready to comply with laws regulating the sector. They say they are peacefully coexisting with their local counterparts.
Formally, they closed before when they came with task force. Then they asked us to produce our papers. I sent our papers, and that same week they came to open for us. Then unfortunately, it was this Monday they came to lock it again, and it was open yesterday. For now, everything is okay.
Like some people sending message, I cannot be in Ghana here and sending message that Ghanaians are killing me, whereas Ghanaians are not killing me. And you know that when you are in WhatsApp, when you do something, your picture will come. So Ghanaians will look at for you. So there are some people who send nonsense message or this thing to the world. So, but I didn't do, and nobody have beaten me. Yeah, even I want them to have task force with us, have this thing, so that we, in every society there's bad one. I learned that America have deported some 7,000 Ghanaians, but there are some Ghanaians in America who are legitimate with their documents. So, if Ghana will do the same thing to Nigeria, then we can fish the bad ones among them with their own corporations.
Meanwhile, some local traders in the enclave who tied red bands amidst chants are unhappy about government's failure to enforce laws regulating the retail sector. National Deputy Secretary of the Ghana Union Traders Association, Emmanuel Nanopokwe Champong, says laws regulating the retail sector must be enforced fully.
To frustrate or prevent people in participating in the trade that we do. But in the country, we have laws. And per the GIPC law, every trader who is coming outside Ghana supposed to pass through the process before the person can operate. But what we are seeing here today is complete lawlessness on the side of the foreigner who wants to trade in the country. And it is not acceptable in any grounds. They are entering the country with nothing. And they come and open shops, abuse our young women, and at the end of the day, go scot-free. We all saw on the social media that some days ago, a lady had been killed at the boot of a Toyota vehicle at East Legon by these Nigerians. The crime they are perpetrating in Ghana, we want the authorities to think about it. We want them to think about it. It is about time the leaders of the country take the bull by the horn and be men. They are practicing a way that we see them as women. They should be bold enough and face facts in Ghana here. Because if the laws on the land is really actually regulating a Ghanaian, why not a foreigner?
Members of GUTA insist that foreigners will not be allowed to engage in retail business within the enclave.
The institutions has failed us. They have failed us big time. Can you imagine someone registering with VAT and not filing their returns for almost 2 years? If this happened to a Ghanaian, what would they say? So all what we are saying is that we have rules and regulations in this country. They should comply with all our laws, because as a citizen we are doing that. We don't have anything saying again. All what we are saying is that they should go by the laws, because even our president, being an adult, is not about the laws of the land.
They are opening 9 shops, 10 shops, and they've scattered their boys all around the place, whereby when people are coming to buy from the main market, they meet them on the way, disallowing them to come into the market to buy from us, to the extent that even at times, when somebody comes to buy from a Ghanaian trader, and unfortunately a Nigerian guy sees that they've bought from a Ghanaian, these guys will approach the person, ask him, how much did you buy this item? Then when you open the bag, he'll tell you, oh, this item, if you had come to my shop, I would have given you a lesser price. So it's created a whole lot of problems for us. That is why we are agitating.
The traders also say the locking of shops belonging to Nigerian traders has nothing to do with the death of a Nigerian woman who reportedly committed suicide. Local traders here at the Swami magazine have insisted that government must ensure foreigners who come into the enclave to do business abide by the rules and regulations of the trade. The locals say they will not allow any foreigner to engage in retail business. Hafiz Tijani, Citi News, Swami Magazine, Kumasi.
Meanwhile, President Nana Akufo-Addo has met with his Nigerian counterpart Buhari in New York over the media reports of disagreements between Ghanaian and Nigerian retailers in Ghana. President Buhari, in a tweet, said that the relationship between Ghana and Nigeria is essential and will not be taken for granted. According to him, he has been assured by President Akufo-Addo that Nigerian businesses are not being deliberately targeted in Ghana. The two leaders met on the sidelines of the ongoing 73rd United Nations General Assembly. Some other stories are the former president of the Ghana Football Association, GFA, Kwesi Nyantakyi, has sued undercover investigative journalist Anas Arimeya Anas. This is the second time Mr. Nyantakyi is suing Anas and its Tiger Eye PI firm. The earlier suit, also at a high court, was specifically about defamation. Nyantakyi wants the high court to declare that Anas's secret recording of their conversations, as well as publishing same, violates his fundamental human rights and privacy in dealing with others. My colleague Fred Tete Jabano has more.
This is the second case Kwesi Nyantakyi has brought against Anas Arimeya Anas and his Tiger Eye PI. The first one had to do with defamation. It was also at the High Court. This case, this new case he's brought before the court, is an issue of a breach of his fundamental human rights. According to Kwesi Nyantakyi, the videos put out by Anas and his team have breached his right to his privacy and dealings with people he would want to deal with. He's also saying that this particular video is a breach of his dignity. According to him, he was recorded without his permission, and therefore the videos which have been put out by Anas and his team are a breach of his dignity. He's also asking the court, which is the Human Rights Division of the High Court, to also ask Anas to pay him some damages in terms of cash. So after the arguments are done and everything, Kwesi Nyantakyi is praying that Kwesi Nyantakyi is praying that he would be awarded some money to compensate for these damages he claims has been caused him. This suit is on the grounds of the video Anas and his team put out during their investigative piece of Ghana football, the rots in the country's football. And as a result of this video, Mr. Nyantakyi lost his position as GFA president and other positions he held with FIFA and CAF.
Moving on, and some customers of gold dealership company Men's Gold Ghana Limited today massed up at various branches of the company to demand their matured investment. This follows an announcement made by the company yesterday stating that customers whose investments matured before 12 September will be given their funds upon demand. There is more in the following report.
Agitated customers of Men's Gold visited various offices to withdraw their dividends. At the headquarters of Men's Gold in Jolu, a tentative schedule for the mode of payment was made available to them. Per the schedule, payments begins today, 28th September, and ends on the 18th of October. This was for customers whose extra values matured before the 12th of September. Some of the customers who spoke to Citi News were excited about the schedule.
I think it's a fantastic step, because had it been other banks or other institutions, they wouldn't have been able to even come out with this payment plan and yet start paying people.
We were supposed to take it last month, and it didn't come true. So I'm rest assured that, let's say, from the 5th to the 9th, those who fall for the range, we will be rest assured to take our money. So there's no big deal about we not having our interest or something.
Desmond, a customer of Men's Gold, however, expressed concern about the exclusion of customers whose dividend matured after September 12.
We have a problem with the schedule. That is, they said they're paying from August 5th to 12th of September, which we are not buying, because those of us whose dividend has been matured on 19th, that means we are out for September, which is not cool with us. But they said they're meeting the board, so by the close of the day, they'll come out with something that will benefit everybody.
Another customer who spoke to Citi News described the approach of paying the dividend as a breach of contract.
Men's Gold is trying to deceive with the customers, because per their press release yesterday, they said anyone who has investment that matures before the 12th of September, they will pay us. And when we came here this morning, their PRO is contradicting their press statement yesterday, which was said by the official PRO, George Kui. He said that if you have an investment that matures before the 12th of September when they shut down, when you come, you will be paid according to a payment schedule. But today, they are trying to contradict themselves. And that's very unfortunate for Men's Gold to do that.
Per the schedule for the payment of the matured extra values, Men's Gold started paying the customers today. The last batch of customers will receive theirs on the 18th of October. Reporting for Citi News, Hansen Ajiman.
So Hansen Ajiman has joined me in the studio. Hansen, how many branches did you visit today?
I went to 2 branches.
Okay, which are?
That was the East Legon branch and then the headquarters in Jolu.
All right, so you went in the morning and then you returned in the evening.
Exactly.
So paint the first picture for us in the morning when you went.
At East Legon this morning, nothing really was happening there. It was just a number of customers who were asked to write down their names, and they were taking, they were given numbers for which they will be engaged later with. And from my engagement with the Deputy Communications Head, for the other branches, the customers actually got their extra values paid. So that should make me believe that for the East Legon branch, they got their extra value payment. But
there was an earlier announcement that they will start the payment after 1 p.m.
So at the East Legon branch, I didn't get any official to speak to. So when I engaged the receptionist and I asked for an official, I was engaged by a security guard. So he told me that, well, they'll start paying them after 1.
Okay.
So that was what he told me, but I didn't get that officially from the management of Men's Gold. So it was at Jolu, the headquarters of Men's Gold, that I got some official statement. So at the headquarters in Jolu in the morning, the deputy head of communications, that's Ni Ama, was engaging the customers, and he was basically justifying reasons why Men's Gold had to go to court. And again, he was clarifying to the customers as to when they were going to pay them. That was the 1 p.m. And he was also making it clear that customers whose extra value matured after 12th September will not receive their extra value payment. So for the customers, the issue about they not having, I mean, the justifications for going to court were needless. Because they were there to take their money.
That's the view of the customers.
That's the view of the customers. And they felt that they would have been given their money immediately they came to the venue, or to the premises of Men's Gold. But they were rather told that payments will begin at 1 p.m.
Okay, so these persons who came wanting their monies given them, was that done?
Well, so that was not. Some of them had their monies from the customers. We get that just about 4 of them were paid. However, the management of Men's Gold is saying that they paid 50 people. We cannot...
At the Jowlu branch?
At the Jowlu branch.
Okay.
So at the Jowlu branch, the customers are saying that just 4 of them were paid, while Men's Gold is saying that, well, we paid 50.
Okay.
And the customers again are saying that they were being embarrassed. The management of Men's Gold had to bring in more security to actually intimidate them. But aside that, there was an issue where we could actually categorize the customers into 2. Now, the first part was the customers who fell within the range Men's Gold was going to pay their extra values. And then those who fell outside, that was those whose extra value matured after 12 September. Now, for the first category, they raised some issues. For some of them, they've run out of patience and they were demanding their extra values. That's today. Men's Gold had to, officials of Men's Gold had to apologize, appeal to their emotions. The other thing was, for some of them, they were saying, supposed their extra values matured on the 12th of September, and they are supposed to take it on the 13th or 14th of October. That means there's an addition of a 1 month, which ordinarily should have been another period where they'll have another extra value on their principal.
So those who were not paid today, have they been given assurances of when they will be getting their monies?
Those who have not been paid, the officials of Men's Gold are saying that they're going to pay them, or they're going to add them to the second batch. That will be the batch will be taking theirs on Monday. And these are customers whose extra value, whose extra value matured from 10 to the 12th of August.
So these people who were paid today, they were paid in hard cash.
Exactly. So that has been the original mode of payments for Men's Gold. So it is a tabletop system where you go and you are being given your money. And if you engage some of them, it's quite some huge amount. Some of them are quoting 250,000, and that is the least that you can hear people quote. So they are paid at the counter.
Did you see people carry cash out of the premises?
We didn't see people carry cash out of the premise. We had to follow up on other issues. But
the company said they did that.
They did pay.
The customers that you saw there, were these customers who believed in Men's Gold regardless of the growing issues surrounding the operations of the company and its fight with the operator, or these are customers who are also equally agitated and want to end it all, the relationship with Men's Gold?
Well, to be frank, there was that bit of hope. But if you followed the Citi News's coverage of this particular issue, you get that sort of hope is dwindling day by day. So on our first day when we visited the place, they were very confident, and for most of them, they felt it was the regulators that were actually sabotaging Men's Gold. Our second visit to the place, they were concerned, and they were demanding answers. They were seeking answers from whoever could help them. Now, today, they were demanding their monies. For the past days, they were making statements such as they could even leave the monies for Men's Gold. But today they were very certain that they needed those money.
What next?
Well, so on Monday, for most of them, they are hoping that by next week, things will clear out and they'll get their monies. We are only, I can't say we are hoping, but it is something that might happen. If by next week, things are not clarified and their monies are not given to them, there's a possibility that most of them will be more angrier. And beside the point again, in my interaction with the Deputy Head of Communications, there was a top-level management meeting today to look at whether or not they are going to include the dividends of those, the extra values of the customers whose extra value matured after the 12th of September. He tells me that that agreement has been met on that level, but they need an approval from a board.
Hansen Ajima, thank you for being on the Citi Newsroom. Hansen Ajima there of Citi Newsroom. This is Citi Newsroom on Citi TV. We are coming to you from number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka in Accra. Let's move on now. In the fight against illegal mining in the Western region is suffering a major setback due to logistical constraints, according to members of the forward operating base. Now, this comes at a time when the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, at the launch of a roadmap to the lifting of the ban, announced the usage of technology-driven tools to augment efforts at stopping illegal mining. In this report, the second-in-command of the Western Region FOB of the Operation Vanguard, Superintendent Robert Kobio, outlines some of the teething challenges.
Measures have been devised that include regular visits to mining concessions, use of remote sensing and satellite imagery and drones, and more importantly, integration of the activities of these regulatory agencies through a computer application we call Galamstop.
This announcement was made about a month ago. It brought relief to some of us who are keen in winning the fight against illegal mining. However, developments on the grounds where the fight is being fought is very discouraging.
Since before you even get to the sites, most of them run away. So eventually you have no option than maybe removing some parts just to disengage the machine.
It is also disheartening to know that the much talked about high-powered drones are not available.
The drones were brought for training, and after the first batch were trained, they took them back to Accra. So currently we don't have them.
The river Ankobra, which spans 190 kilometers from Weaso in the Western Region to the Gulf of Guinea, is heavily polluted due to illegal mining activities. There were pronouncements of equipping the task force to flush out illegal miners from this water body, but nothing or less has been achieved.
Currently we have 2 at-board motors, but they are not effective. The other day we went and tried on the river Ankobra, and then it proved unsuccessful because you spy for a while and then it goes off. So if we can get the drones and the at-board motor, I think it will also help us in our efforts.
Despite this, the team is determined not to give up the fight. They had this request to make of government.
If the ban is lifted and being regulated, and also asked to form a group to watch themselves, I think that one will help us, so that if you are in the, say, small-scale mining, and then you know that the activities being carried out by your colleague is not helping the nation, it is onus on them to report to the authority that may be, so that from there we can seek solution to it.
Kojo Ajman reporting for Citi News.
You're still watching the Citi Newsroom. My name is Vivian Kai. Look who I'm here with.
Umaru Sanda Amadu.
Coming up, Kolebu Teaching Hospital rules out any wrongdoing on the part of its staff in the death of a 50-year-old woman this month. Don't go away.
Bless you with body. We brought you not 1, not 2, but 3 of the city's biggest lockdowns on a cross one and only funky and fresh jam. This time, may the 4th be with you as the Body Beach Hotel at 97.3 Citi FM present the 4th edition of Funky and Fresh on Friday, 28 September 2018. Funky and Fresh, the 4th edition with DJ Gaddafi, will be another one to remember as the whole capital comes to a standstill as we boogie and have a blast till you crash. Pull up. It's great cocktails, excellent music mix, and dancing feet to make your Friday night come alive. Book your place and make reservations now. Call 0544-431-213. Funky and Fresh is powered by Labadi Beach Hotel and 97.3 Citi FM and sponsored by Big Ideas Consult, Bacardi, Voyage is a Freak, and Let's Be Seated.
Citi TV is live. Citi TV is a free-to-air digital channel. On a digital TV, please press menu on your remote control and run a new search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Citi TV on your television. Citi TV can be accessed on a free-to-air digital box like GoTV and StarTimes box. Tune into Citi TV and experience your world. Citi TV, it's your world.
My name is Vivian Kai Loco. Now, Facebook says an attack on its computer network has exposed the personal information of nearly 50 million users. The company said it discovered the breach this week, finding that attackers had exploited a feature in Facebook's code that allowed them to take over user accounts. The company said it fixed the vulnerability and notified law enforcement officials. To talk more about this story is Philip Ashon, host of City Trends on Citi TV. Philip, welcome to the Citi Newsroom.
Well, thank you very much.
How did this happen?
Well, let's give a bit of background. So basically, when an individual tries to access Facebook, you basically send a request to Facebook. And now Facebook realizes when people keep sending requests, it might be a little tiresome. So they introduce a sort of mechanism that allows people to request once, and then anytime you make a further request, it basically has all your details. And it calls this an access token.
Okay.
So it makes it much easier for people to gain access to their Facebook accounts, whereby they don't have to always sign in into their accounts. You know, sometimes also you have access to another account and you want to just use your Facebook as, you know, the login details. All of those things go through basically a process where an access token is generated for that particular device or that particular application, so that anytime you sign in, it's much easier.
Okay.
Now, the breach basically happened because this particular access token was used by certain individuals to hack into Facebook. And that's basically what happened on Tuesday. Facebook, according to Mark Zuckerberg, says they found this particular data breach on Tuesday and have been trying to fix it. They've actually removed the vulnerability and they are trying to work on it to make sure it doesn't happen again. Now, what is interesting is that this is not the first time Facebook has sort of been in this sort of situation.
So they mean other breaches?
Exactly. The Cambridge Analytica situation is one that readily comes to mind. This was a couple of months ago where about 90 million accounts were actually affected. And it's interesting, this 90 million figure, because what people don't realize is, aside the 50 million people who were directly affected by this particular breach, another 40 million were affected as well. And Facebook decided today that they are going to revoke the access for most of these people, these 40 million people, and then have them re-enter their details just to make sure their accounts are secure. So if probably some of our viewers are...
I was affected because I woke up this morning and I tried to log on to Facebook, and then it said login, and I know I've already logged in, it's saved and all that, so I was wondering. And then this afternoon, so I thought maybe something was happening.
Brilliant.
This afternoon it happened again. I was telling I think my HR manager that it's unusual and I feel the system has been hacked. But
so
then
you see how frustrating it is to always log in every time. That is why these access tokens are important, so that as soon as you type in Facebook, it basically opens it, because Facebook has recognized your device, has recognized that you typically sign in from this particular region. So it uses all of those bits of information to give you access to your Facebook account. And that is why these access tokens were developed. So Facebook basically just blocked access to these tokens. Now, what's interesting is Facebook has this thing where it calls, where, you know, when you go to your Facebook account, you click on the top left corner, you can basically see how people see your account, which is known as the view as. Now, that is how the people got access into their accounts. And so Facebook has disabled this particular one. And going back a year, anybody who has accessed Facebook using the view as option, or has seen or used the view as option, Facebook has basically sort of taken away that privilege, and that is why you would have to sign in. Now, what it means, therefore, is 90 million people, once again, were logged out of their accounts and have had to log back in. Going back once again a few months with the Cambridge Analytica situation, about 90 million people were also affected by a vulnerability. So it's very, very interesting what's going on. Currently, globally, there's a lot of conversation going on about security and giving access. But one thing I find very interesting is when you go back to about 2012, when Facebook decided to list publicly their IPO, they did indicate that taking this move will affect certain bits of personal information that are accessed because of third-party people or institutions gaining access to user information.
Okay, so if you were affected, what you can do now is to log in, and it's safe to log in again.
Yes, it is safe to log in. Facebook also says that if you can't remember your password, because quite a number of people can't remember their password, it's very, very simple. Just go to the help center on Facebook and you will be taken through the processes. One thing I'll also say is that if you use Facebook and some of these rather new, social media platforms have something they call the authentication or third. It basically gives you access. You access your device, or you access Facebook using another device. So, for example, your phone or your number. So it's sort of like another way of ensuring there's more security. And so, once you log into Facebook, just look for that other option. It just generates, sometimes sends you a text message and you have some numbers and you can enter it. That is also another way of securing your account.
Okay. How is Facebook dealing with this? Because this is not the first time its system has been breached, and the issue of security and all that pops up. And what is it saying about all this in terms of protecting us moving forward?
Well, Mark Zuckerberg on his Facebook page basically did say today that it is something they're taking very seriously, and that is why they had to revoke the access for the additional 40 million people, just to ensure that people are not being exploited in any other way. What they've also done is this particular view as feature has been taken down and is being reviewed to ensure that further breaches do not happen in the future. So Facebook is taking this seriously, and with all the backlash that Facebook had to face after the Cambridge Analytica situation somewhere in March, it looks like a lot of eyeballs are on Facebook. You must also probably have heard about 2 executives from Instagram stepping down this week as a result of differences that they've had with the company, and as a result of how much information Facebook is basically relying on Instagram users to use. So there's a lot going on with the company. There's a lot of bad blood between certain executives. People are resigning. So there's a lot of negative buzz, as it were, about Facebook. And it's a very trying time for the company. But I'm sure that with some of these measures that they've taken, trying to reassure persons like yourself and myself who use and access Facebook, I'm sure that they are just trying to make sure they keep up with all the security issues that are popping up with the company.
Okay, and before I go, do we know who is behind this breach?
Well, Facebook doesn't know, and we don't know, but we are definitely keeping an eye out on that. And I think that, in the coming weeks, we will figure out, or Facebook will figure out and make the necessary announcements.
Thank you very much, Philip Ashon. He's the host of City Trends on Citi TV. Let's move on to some other stories. The Association of Building and Civil Engineering Contractors of Ghana have threatened to embark on a demonstration by the end of the month if the government does not honor its promise of paying monies owed them. The association has expressed disquiet about the issue, saying they will no longer take any excuse from the government after the deadline elapses. Executive Secretary of the Association of Building and Civil Engineering Contractors of Ghana, Sherry Emmanuel Wusanya, tells Citi News they will embark on a massive demonstration if government does not do the needful.
We may demonstrate, but that depends upon government's commitment as well. But our demonstration is not going to be just ordinary demonstration as others normally just take to the street and then move around. No. If we are going to demonstrate as contractors, the government must believe that we are going to take over the structures that we have constructed. If it's road, we are taking road. If it's building, we are taking over the building. We don't care whether students are in class or not. We are taking over. So if government wants this, then it should drag its feet. But if it doesn't, then quickly should take a step and pay the contractors.
Now, the Kolebu Teaching Hospital has exonerated its staff of any wrongdoing in the death of a 50-year-old woman last week. The family of the late Sheila Mansa Fuga accused the staff of turning their relative away in an ambulance over claims there was no bed.
However, after more than a week of investigations, Kolebu Teaching Hospital says the family rather was impatient. Citi Newsroom's Caleb Kuda has more.
According to the family, the staff of Kolebu Teaching Hospital on duty the nights they rushed in, after glancing through their referral note, remarked that the case was not pressing enough to be referred there.
But when we go to the emergency unit and we asked of the person for us to be given some care, the person said there was no bed and turned us away. The staff instructed a subordinate over there, a lady, to go to the ambulance and try and attend to her, find out what the situation really is. She didn't respond. She was reluctant. In fact, they both didn't care.
The family says they rushed their sick aunt to a private facility where her condition stabilized. Her condition, however, worsened after the facility ran out on oxygen. 50-year-old Sheila Mansa Fuga was later rushed to Ridge Hospital, where she eventually died a day after Kolebu Teaching Hospital turned her away. After a week of investigating this claim, however, the public relations officer of Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Mustafa Salifu, tells Citi News the patient relative were not patient enough to be attended to while at Kolebu.
Yes, the patient was brought to Kolebu on Sunday, and they met some of our staff, and then a request was made, an instruction was given to one of the staff members to do a triage on the patient while the patient was in the ambulance, because at that time the place was full beyond capacity. So, and when you are to do a triage, it means you have to gather the necessary items and materials before you are able to do it. But in the process, what we found was that the family could not wait for those materials to be gathered, and then they left Kolebu for another facility.
Now, 8 persons, including 6 school children between the ages of 3 and 14, 2 teachers of the Learners Bridge Academy who died in a gory accident at the Takwa Nsuaye municipality of the Western region, have been laid to rest today.
Now, the accident occurred last Monday when they were returning from school. Confirming the incident to Citi News, the Takwa Divisional Police Commander, DSP Edmond Busopim, said about 40 other children and a teacher were also injured. He explained that one Clement Odro, aged 44 years, was in charge of a Sprinter bus driving from Dompim to a suburb of Takwa with pupils and teachers of Leaders Bridge Academy School on board. On reaching a section of the road between Dompim and Bonsa, he lost control in the curve and veered into the opposite lane and collided with a truck. To some other stories, and in a bid to fulfill its mandate of planning, promoting and coordinating road safety activities and programs in the country, the National Road Safety Commission has launched a team of road safety goodwill ambassadors, advocates and communicators.
Now, these people, drawn from various walks of life, are to use their clout, technical know-how and expertise to generate awareness on road safety.
The Road Safety Goodwill Ambassadors, Advocates and Communicators is made up of politicians, musicians, personnel from the Ghana Police Service, the National Ambulance Service and the Ghana National Fire Service, among many others. The board chairman of the National Road Safety Commission, Reverend Ishmaila Awudu, charged the members of the newly inaugurated team to be proactive in reducing the high rate of deaths caused as a result of road carnages.
More pedestrians are dying. We'll also realize that our able-bodied youth population, demographically, we are losing a lot of them. And if you put all these things together, then you realize that we are seriously in a challenge, and we cannot fold our arms and think that we can't do anything about it. I believe with these able-bodied men and women, your experience, your exposures, your know-hows, your positions, your influence being put together can help to be able to advocate and push this agenda forward, to save lives on our roads, and to help make sure that at least we reduce these whole accident challenges to a very minimum.
The Deputy Minister for Transport, Daniel Nee Titus Glover, in his inaugural address, charged the National Road Safety Commission to utilize its somewhat meager resources to full capacity.
The issue of engineering design, enforcement, and education. Yes, I agree with Mr. Degabanti. There should always be a collaboration between the designer and engineers anytime you want to construct a road. At least the input of road safety must be sought.
Some of the names among the list of members of the Road Safety Goodwill team include the First Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Joseph Osei-Wusu, the Inspector General of Police, David Asante Apietu, and gospel artist Kwesi Oting, among others.
Now, fishermen in Elmina have bemoaned the partial operation of a fishing processing plant in Elmina established in 2016. In an interview with Citi News, Chief Fisherman of Elmina, Kofi Awatri, explained how only the ice processing plant of the company is operational.
When my company was banned, first way you were just saying, what is your mammy a call, I will see them. But the safety lawyer collector, what is the lawyer collector? Who knew the management or the hamper? But my memory of dying there, where I work, a good baby machine is say, or sign with Jai. My was say, I'm walking watching one son, or Abema, one son, for Massa Asburg line, I am for Asburg and I am for them who often the season was in the Papa Bashim on one year, on 4 years. What do you mind Asburg?
Now, the Deputy Minority Chief Whip, Ahmed Ibrahim, is alleging the emergence of serious hardship in Parliament, which has caused MPs to abandon the emergency recall. According to him, the deduction of luxury tax, high-income earners tax, rising cost of fuel, and the non-payment of their common fund for 2 quarters had brought untold hardship to the legislature, to the extent that most MPs cannot fuel their vehicles to Parliament. Similar concerns were raised last month when the high-income earners tax took effect, which hived off about 2,000 cedis. There's more in this report.
According to the Deputy Minority Chief Whip, the harsh realities of the economy has taken its toll on members of Parliament. This, he says, has manifested in the low numbers that have been recorded in the House during proceedings for the emergency recall.
And it is not for nothing that you come to Parliament with a special recall. And the Finance Minister himself is not finding it easy to come to Parliament because he knows very well that he has wronged the House very seriously. Why am I saying this? MP's emergency fund, that's a portion of the Disassembly Common Fund. From January to date, we are entering the last quarter. Monday, it means we are in the last quarter. The government has not been able to pay even the first quarter to the Disassembly Common Fund because the administrator was a former member of this House. That's why she managed to pay even the first quarter. Not even in full. So if you are a member of Parliament, everybody knows that you are giving an emergency fund from January, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter. We are entering the fourth quarter. Meanwhile, the first quarter was not paid in full to the administrator of the Assembly Common Fund. I'm a member of the local government committee, and I know what is happening. Then government will come and say, oh, we are current on all the statutory funds. It's a lie.
He's therefore calling on government to release the MP's emergency fund as part of the District Assembly's common fund, which he says has been in arrears for 2 quarters.
We are in Parliament approving loan. Even that one, we don't have the numbers. Why don't we have the numbers? People, MPs cannot even buy fuel. Taxi drivers who buy the fuel and even charge fees are crying. What about me, who buy it only to come to Parliament just to come and make law and go? Some live in Adenta, some live in Dodowa, some live in Kaswa, some live in Ashalboche. Can you imagine coming every day with V8, coming, buying your own fuel and coming? How much salary do you collect? That at the end of the month you can pay for all your bills. That is the problem.
Back on the floor of the House, MPs eulogized the life and works of legal luminary, the late Justice VCRAC Crab. The House also approved a $50 million loan from the International Development Association of the World Bank for the Ghana Commercial Agricultural Project, GCAP. Here's Chairman of the Finance Committee, Dr. Mark Esibe-Yabua.
Mr. Speaker, the project has 4 components. Component 1 is to facilitate investment promotion in commercial agriculture. Component 2 is to promote private sector investments and smallholder linkages in selected areas. Component 3 would rehabilitate and modernize irrigation schemes and reform irrigation institutions and management, whilst component 4 involves project management, monitoring, and evaluation. Mr. Speaker, the committee was informed that as at the end of June 2018, about $62.1 million of the IDA credits had been disbursed by the World Bank, representing 68.32% of total credit. This was said to exclude over $30 million committed for rehabilitating the Pond Left Bank irrigation project.
So on the last day of the emergency recall of Parliament from recess, the House has managed to pass a loan of $50 million from the IDA of the World Bank for the Ghana Agricultural Project, GCAP. However, the House could not pass the Great Mechanization AMSEC loan of some $95 million from the same institution because of a lack of quorum, which is being attributed by many MPs to varying reasons. There's still a tall list of business to be conducted. For instance, the Mineral Development Fund bill has still not been passed, and people are beginning to ask if the House would actually rise today for recess on this emergency recall, or probably to be extended to tomorrow for the unfinished business to be completed. From the precincts of Parliament, I am Duke Menton Poku for Citi News.
So that the rest of
And here in the studios of Citi TV, I am Umaru Sandamadu here with
Vivian Kai Loco.
When we come back, KMA boss, former Kojo Bonzo, joins NDC flag bearership race.
It's engaging, detailed, and loaded with factual and incisive analysis. It's The Big Issue, your preferred Saturday morning news and current affairs analysis program on Citi TV. Tune in this and every Saturday at 9 a.m. and hear the newsmakers discuss the top issues for the week.
At that time, Charlotte was conquered. I'm not defending Charlotte. I'm talking about the way we behave like hypocrites and ostriches in this country. At that time, she was a perfect person.
It's The Big Issue with Stella Madonu on Citi TV. This and every Saturday at 9 a.m.
Welcome back. Now, former Chief Executive Officer of the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly, KMA Kojo Bonzo, has declared his intention to contest the flag bearership race of the opposition National Democratic Congress, NDC. The former Kumasi mayor joins other party stalwarts such as former President John Dramani Mahama and former Vice Chancellor of the University of Professional Studies, that's UPSA, Professor Joshua Alabi. Former President Jerry John Rawlings today gave a hint about Mr. Bonso's intent by posting a message on Twitter after receiving him at the residence here in Accra.
Now, about 12 members of the NDC have so far declared their intention to contest to challenge former President John Mahama as flag bearers of the party ahead of the 2020 polls. They include Dr. Ekospil Gabra, a former Trade and Industry Minister under the John Mahama government, former Vice Chancellor of the University for Professional Studies, Accra, Professor Joshua Alabi, and 2 members of Parliament, Alban Bagbin and Kweku Ricketts Hagen.
Let's move on to some other stories. And former President John Agyekum Kufuor has disclosed that one of the key deficits in Ghana's development efforts is leadership. He stressed that the country requires transformational leaders in all spheres to successfully develop.
According to the former president, bad leadership, non-adherence to rules and financial malpractices which reportedly been attributed to the recent banking crisis should be curtailed in order not to draw back the country's economy. Former President Kufuor was addressing entrepreneurs at the launch of the Kufuor Young Entrepreneurs Network, a program by the John Agyekum Kufuor Foundation.
The Kufuor Young Entrepreneurs Network is an initiative of the John A. Kufuor Foundation to support young and fledgling Ghanaian entrepreneurs to become future captains of industry. The Chief Executive Officer of the John A. Kufuor Foundation, in an address, noted that some prospective entrepreneurs involved in diverse areas of enterprise had been identified to form the first batch of the Kufuor Young Entrepreneurs Network. Former President John Agyekum Kufuor, in his speech, noted that one of the key deficits of the country's developmental efforts is leadership, explaining that Ghana requires transformational leaders to successfully develop. He added that the recent banking crisis that has reportedly been attributed to malpractices, non-adherence to rules, and bad leadership should not repeat itself in order not to erode the country's economic gains.
My experiences throughout those years have taught me that one of the key deficits in our development efforts is leadership. Leadership in all spheres of life, but most importantly, in governance and business. We require transformational leaders to successfully develop our society. That is why, as soon as I retired as president of Ghana, I founded the foundation to advance my vision for preparing young people for leadership. The recent crisis in the financial sector of our country is reportedly due to some malpractices, non-adherence to rules, and bad leadership practices. This should not be repeated to draw the economy of our nation back.
The Minister for Business Development, Mohammed Awal, reiterated government's commitment to creating an enabling environment for Ghanaian entrepreneurs and businesses to thrive.
As a government, we are trying to establish an ecosystem that will encourage people like you to grow your business. We have several hundreds of young people, like I said, graduating from school every year. Only 10% are able to go into a formal sector. The rest must find jobs. Though we can find jobs, is to create entrepreneurs. And I'm so happy that His Excellency's initiative is in line with what my ministry is doing to create successful, sustainable businesses, to create wealth and jobs for our people. It's very important for us. What we intend doing next year as government is we are setting up an entrepreneurship fund that would partner with the private sector, some banks, a fund that would be over 200 million to provide very competitive funding for young people like you.
15 young entrepreneurs have been inducted into the Kufuor Young Entrepreneurs Network to be nurtured and mentored into growing their businesses to multinational enterprises. From the office of the John A. Kufuor Foundation, my name is Nanatufo Boateng, reporting for Citi News.
And that's it for today's edition of the Citi Newsroom. Log on to our website, citinewsroom.com, for more stories. My name is Vivian Kai Loko.
And I am Omaru Sandamadu. Thank you for watching and have a great weekend.
Good night.